We are going to take you through what sold on Poshmark and eBay this past week, and we are also going to give you a long overdue update on the Poshmark Promoted Closet beta program. We are 2 weeks in, and we have a lot to say. So you want to start with what was selling this past week?
The first item is going to be a flip item, I believe.
Yep.
Talbot's mint green skirt.
I think it was linen.
Linen. Sold for $20 on Posh.
And all of those linen items that you have in your closet, you should be listing them. As the weather gets warmer, people are going to be looking for them. And as we say all the time, lag and look and coastal grandma are great keywords for all of your linen items, and this definitely fit into that category.
Next is Bohm.
Can you guys help us? How do you say this? If you can give us a phonetic pronunciation in the comments, we'd really appreciate it. But this is a weird item situation. Like, you want to just give the story here?
So this was a flip item.
We think
that was not on the inventory register of. So I think they just gave us a free item.
Yeah. So the problem is, if you guys remember, when we started Flip, and if you haven't seen that video where we explained how Flip started, basically, we, by accident, kind of fell into 3 flip lots at the same time, and it was a whole ordeal, and this was part of one of the 3, I think. We have no record of ever purchasing this item. I don't know the brand, so I wouldn't have picked it up, and I thought it was on Flip. You have a search bar on Flip to look up brands. It doesn't exist. I can't figure out what lot it would have been from. I don't know. So we just listed it, and yeah, it sold.
Yeah, sold for $15, and for something we have never...
We know nothing about.
We know nothing about it.
It basically materialized in our home.
It's a free $15.
Yeah.
Really.
So thank you. I don't know. Has this ever happened to you? Have you just found items that you have no idea where you got? I would love to know. Next item we sold was Athleta Sculptech jeans. Now these jeans used to be huge sellers for us. We'd get around $45 for them, and we loved picking them up. This has pretty much ended. These were very, very light blue and very prone to staining, so I think that probably pushed people away from them, so they only sold for $16, but they've been sitting for a while, so I was happy to see them go.
Just getting anything back for them and moving on and just calling it a wash.
Right,
really.
So thank you, Poshmark, for getting that one out of my closet.
The next is a very pretty item. I don't know who picked it out. I think you probably did.
I feel like I'll just take credit.
You'll take credit. Yeah,
thanks.
That's the smart move. So this is a Maeve Coral Shine dress, sold on Posh for $25. You said that this is a As Seen On for a TV show.
Yes, I love As Seen On items. If you don't look this up, you should. When you find an item at the thrift store, definitely double check if it's ever been worn on TV or on a celebrity. There's a website out there called Worn on TV that you can look up a lot of items. Google Image also is a good way to do this, but this one was worn on Switched at birth, so I was able to put that photo in there. I definitely think it helped, and I just think it's fun to do. But yeah, it sold for $25 on Posh, and for a short Maeve dress, that is perfectly good and in the realm of what I would expect for that kind of dress.
Next is an item that has been sitting for a long
an eternity.
So long. This is Anthropologie Yellow Bird, and sold on Posh for $16.
I don't know much about the Yellowbird Anthropologie brand, so if you do and you know if it's one of those that sell better or worse, please do let me know. But I think this is the only item we have gotten from that line, and it sat for a long time, so I am not really excited to find it again, unless you guys tell me that I should be.
Yeah, I think I'm actually kind of surprised that it sat for so long, because it was kind of a cool multi-textured, multi-cloth type item.
Yeah, it was definitely multi-material, and it was also peacock pattern?
It was sheer with like the bright colors on the back. It was just
I'm going to say it was a
piece.
peacocking sweater. That's what I'm going to say.
So next is an item that I told you not to pick up.
You did.
And
you did.
I was right. I still maintain, because this has been sitting for a long time. This is a Resi vintage skirt.
Okay, but you're going to see it on the screen, and you tell me, was he right? Because honestly, I thought this skirt was so cute, and I stand by that. I think it just needed to find its buyer.
Sold for $30, so I am happy with the price, but it has been in our house for a very long time.
Yeah, I was taking up so much room. Oh my goodness. But I totally understand that we want to get things sold in as little months as possible. So definitely understand that. But it was so cute, and I'm so glad it found its right buyer.
Next is an Athleta shirt. Now this has an interesting stripe down the back, and it's just weird. Like it weighs nothing. But it's got a little pattern on the back for no reason.
And it's a lightweight button-down shirt, so I'm sure that somebody that is going back into the office during the springtime thought this would be a really great item to pick up. I really loved it, and I thought to myself, I could wear it to the office if it doesn't sell, so it was a win-win all around. It sold for $25 on eBay.
Next one up is our only DVD sale. So we've had a couple of them in the last couple of videos that we've done of these. This is Chicken Run, or Henin Renin, which is It was the German version of Chicken Run.
Did you practice that?
No, I actually failed several semesters of German back in the day. So sold on eBay for $14.87 with free ship. So not the best margin, but I will take that given what we paid, and Media Mail is amazing.
Yes. Now, we picked this up because we have found that some foreign movies do well for us. We have different ones that we can show you if you're ever interested in hearing about that have done really well just because they were foreign and people were looking for them. And this one didn't have a lot of comps on it, and we just kind of thought, I don't know, maybe it would be worth it. We still made a profit, but I don't know that I would necessarily do that again as blindly as we did it this time.
Next is a vintage t-shirt, and this is The Mountain. This is a shirt with a giant fish. I believe it's a walleye or a perch. It's one of the two.
Someone's
I think it's a walleye.
Totally going to call you on this, Mr. Fisherman.
I'm pretty sure it's a walleye. But vintage shirt,
The Mountain is a great brand.
It is a consistent seller. It sold for $25, so not upset about that.
And it had some wear along the collar, so I do think
Yeah.
it would have sold for more without that wear. But the Mountain has a lot of really great patterns, and they also have artists on the bottom. It's usually the bottom right-hand corner of the shirt, and some of those artists are more rare and more desirable than others. So definitely keep an eye out for those. But the Mountain sells. Like it just always does.
Next is one that you wanted to talk about because of a particular person that may or may not wear this. This is a Robert Graham button-down shirt. Sold for $29.87, so very happy about that price. Sold on eBay. Take it away.
Well, so as I said earlier, I love As Worn on TV. It's something that I just really enjoy. And what I also do, not only do I look up items that I found in the thrift store, but I also will look up celebrities that I really enjoy their fashion or shows where I really enjoy their fashion. And I look at what their items are, what the brands are. And one of those celebrities that I look up fashion for all of the time is Noel Fielding. He has an Instagram dedicated to him. He has the best fashion ever. If you disagree, you're wrong. And I noticed that he'd been wearing a lot of Robert Graham shirts, and some of them are really out there and some of them are more understated. So I definitely think the more bold the pattern, the higher the price point. I saw some at ridiculous price points. This one was just a regular striped shirt, pretty average, run of the mill. But it sold for $29.87, and I learned a new brand out of it. So if you see Robert Graham in the store, definitely look it up. Give it a check out.
Next is going to be a brand that we sell all the time. This is Madewell. This is a sweater. It's not pants, because that's normally what we sell for Madewell, because we buy it all the time. This is just a normal brown cardigan sold on eBay for $29.87 again with a 20%. So that is important to know. Madewell sells. Just buy all of it.
Now, does this count as a sweater? I mean...
It was a sweater. It's a very lightweight sweater.
Very lightweight
sweater. Basically see-through sweater. But it's a cardigan-esque style.
It's like I'm going out in warm weather, but I really don't want air to touch me. Like, it's that kind of sweater. And then finally, we sold a pair of 11s paper bag pants. They were pink and they were high-waisted. They tied. I really thought these were going to sell better. 11s generally sells in the $40 range for me. Unfortunately, these only sold for $20. I don't know if the color or I don't know. I think they're really cute. But they took a little bit of time, so I took a $20 offer. And that sold on eBay as well. Now, I know what you guys are all probably here for is the update on promoted closets. So we were accepted into the beta program approximately 2 weeks ago, and we were kind of just trying to feel it out before we gave you any updates. So let's first start with what the promoted closet looks like.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So is it only available on the computer? I believe it is.
Yes, this is only available on the computer right now. I don't know if that's going to change over time, but right now it's on the computer. And if you want to see your screens, you need to go to the top right corner of the computer, click on your little icon, and Promoted Closets is right there in that drop-down
menu. It actually
menu.
says Promoted Closet Beta. So
Yeah.
it's very handy to find, if not handy to use.
Yes, so there are 2 screens on this Promoted Closet Beta section. You've got a screen that says Overview, and it gives you charts with clicks, and that's it, essentially. And then there's another one that's called Manage, and it just tells you how much you've spent all over the time that you've been using it.
Yeah,
right?
it's your weekly budget that you set for yourself and how much of that you've used basically so far this week.
Right. So the first screen, if you hadn't made a sale, you wouldn't see this top part. So I'm going to talk about that after. But what you would see if you hadn't made a sale was Promoted Closet Performance. It tells you the number of clicks. It tells you how many items you've sold over the course of time that you've been in the beta program. and how much money you've made from that. I do want to note on this chart that is very frustrating is there is a drop-down menu to allow you to change the duration of time that this is tracking, and it doesn't let you do it by week, even though you are charged by week.
Yeah, I think that is intentionally done by Poshmark. I should have my tinfoil hat, but we're going to try to make it through this video without my tinfoil hat.
Good luck!
Yeah. So what they're doing is essentially trying to make it less transparent and less easy to see the results and track the information, because they don't give you the correlating metric of week by week.
Yes. So they allow you to do 30 days in a year, I believe. If
Yeah.
we're incorrect, we'll put that on the screen. But that's what they allow you to do. So you can then look at your chart and see, okay, so these are the clicks that I've made. You can track that on the chart, and they have a little dollar thing on the chart that says you made a sale that day. And I don't know why it's useful, because frankly, they don't tell you what items were clicked on or sold. The only way to back into what items sold through promoted listings would be to look at the sale price and then go and find what items sold for that amount of money on that day. They don't actually tell you.
Yeah. So that's the other major problem that I see so far is that's an additional level of lack of transparency. Poshmark, please, for all the things that we have been asking for, the biggest one has been be more transparent. Just be more open and help us to see the information. Help us see everything so that we know that it's worth it.
Right.
That's all I want.
I would agree. The second page is Manage, which tells you how much money you've spent. Now, I want to talk about this just really quickly because there is a budget that you can set for your week, right? You can choose, it looks like any dollar amount, but for the beta program, they set us at $25. Now, the reason this is important is they give you how many clicks you got and how much money each click costs, but each click costs a different amount of money. It's based on factors that they don't tell you. So how would you choose a budget if you don't know what factors are using and how much clicks cost? The answer is I don't know. I don't think you can choose. I think you would
trial and error, seeing what results you get for what dollar amounts you spend.
But in theory, the results would be different week over week, right? So I could spend $25 this week and get through the whole week, and then next week it would cost me $30, and the week after it would cost me $50.
Yeah,
right?
there's no good answer.
Right. So they literally say to you, it's based on lots of things. So I don't know. It seems like on average, clicks are costing around 10 cents, but that could just be based on my small subset of data that I don't really have transparency into.
Yeah, there's no way to tell.
So there's no way to tell. There's no good way to know what dollar amount would work for you. I've been seeing in the groups that $25 has not gotten people all the way through it. And other people like me have gotten all the way through. But that could be because of sharing. So we've been asked many times on the videos, is sharing still important with promoted closets? And my answer would be, I guess, yes, to make sales, but maybe don't share if you don't want to spend money, I guess.
That's the complicated thing. Yes, sharing is very much still important in the promoted, because that's the only way that you're going to make sales, but it will cost you more to share your closet.
Yes.
Because sharing it puts your promoted item at the top of the list, and it is more likely to be then clicked on and charged and either purchased or not purchased.
Yeah, so for example, if you look at my chart, you can see a day where I actually made a sale, but had like 0 clicks. Now, I don't remember what was going on that day. I think it was a busy day at work, and I just didn't get to share my closet that often, and that happens sometimes when I'm working. And I didn't get charged much because I was not sharing. Yeah. But then other days, I scheduled my shares out every 2 hours like I normally do, and I got charged a lot more, but didn't make more sales. Just got charged more.
Didn't make any sales.
Didn't make any. So sharing is still very important. It's still essential, which I truthfully don't know how I feel about that. If I am paying for promoted listings, I believe that they should be promoted regardless of whether or not I'm sharing, because I'm paying you a fee to do so. That's how I feel.
And that's what makes sense to me.
Well, that's what makes sense to me too. So, essentially, it doesn't save you from sharing at all. You are just basically paying money, and you have to also share. So, have fun and give me money. That's what that is. Now, I did mention that there is another screen that you will see at the top of your original screen that you only get if you've made a sale the day before. It says, here are your highlights from yesterday. It says your promoted closet stats, 152 clicks. So apparently yesterday I had 152 clicks, 1 listing sold at $18, and your return on ad spend 3.5 times. So the first issue you have...
there's so many problems with that.
So many problems. So the first one is the dollar amount of my sale is actually my gross number, not my net number. So that's really important to know when you're looking at how much money you made from promoted listings.
That's before the 20% fee. So you made...
$14.40.
Yeah, on that $18, you made $14 and change. So that right there is problematic because they should have both numbers because they have both numbers.
The other problem you had.
The other problem that I have, and this is the more misleading part of this, and it's, again, lack of transparency on the part of Poshmark. If you do not make a sale, that banner does not show up, and that does not mean that you did not spend money. They're not going to show you the negative side of things on that screen. So they're not going to show you, hey, you spent money yesterday. Ha 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 ha. You made no money from the spending money. We just took money out of your pocket. They won't show you that. So that is a huge problem because it looks like you're making more than you actually are. And it's not factoring in the actual real life cost of the promoted listings.
Yes. On top of that, they also give you a return on ad spend, which was 3.5. Now remember, they don't tell you this when you didn't make sales. So my ad spend, to me, in my opinion, is the amount of money I spent in total, not the amount of money I spent in one day. But what they're giving you here is what you spent in one day. So when they say I made 3.5 times my ad spend, they mean just yesterday. So I probably spent approximately $5 in clicks. So they're saying that 3.5 times that got me to $18. Not $14.40, $18. So yeah. you see how this is problematic. This is a problem.
Well, so for the 2 weeks, you've made 4 sales.
I have.
From promoted. You made more sales besides that, but you've made 4 promoted sales for a total of $87 total gross. That's not net. That's gross number. So right off the bat, you're at about $60. For those 2 weeks, you've spent $50.
Yeah.
Meaning that the difference between what you've spent and the difference between what you've netted is $10, give or take.
So the way I would suggest you think about this is, would you go into a store, for a thrift store, and source an item that you pay $50 for, that you can net $60 for? If that is your business model, this might work for you. If it is not, run. Just run.
Yeah, basically, that is really where it breaks down for me. The math for this has not worked to this point in our experience. That's not to say that it can't work, but so far it has not worked. You're looking at spending $50 to make $87 gross. So that's $87 before Poshmark takes the 20%. And to me, that does not make sense because you're taking on all of the risk. Poshmark is just getting an extra $50.
Right. Now, we do have averages that we want to show you of our average sales per week, whether or not we made more net during the promoted listing program than we did on average the rest of the year, and whether we made more total number of sales on average the rest of the year than we did with promoted closets. But before I get into that, the one thing I wanted to tell you, just because I know people have been asking, is with these charts and these analytics, they do actually break out the items that sold via promoted versus organically. Now, they don't tell you which items they are, but I did make more sales than I show in that chart. Yeah. So I know that they are not including organic sales in the promoted chart. So that's an important distinction that I want to make sure we say.
Question though, do we know that it's only 4 or that it was 4? Like, there's no way for us to back that out because they don't give you or the list of the promoted items versus not promoted. They don't give you anything to go on.
Right. The seller can't see it. On eBay, for example, they will say item sold via promoted listing. So you get to know that it sold. They also have lots of analytics. And if you ever want to see the difference between eBay's pay-per-click and Poshmark's, we actually tested that out and we'd be happy to show you. But there are differences. One of them, there's analytics.
Transparency. So yeah, with Poshmark, there's just no transparency and there's nothing to go off. We actually don't know how they're getting these numbers. We don't know any of the information for how they're determining what is promoted and what is not.
Right. So we did the math for you, and we're going to tell you right now whether or not we made more money or more sales during promoted closet time period than we did the rest of the year, or not. So do you want to break down those numbers?
So what is it going to be? Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you for the more sales?
Yeah, I'm not feeling confident based on everything that I've seen. But we did our averages, and I'm going to be very transparent with you guys that I have not been as consistent as I have been in years past. And that is definitely reflected here. So I will say that Promoted Closet has not been impacted by inconsistency. The entire year has been the same on that front.
Yeah, you've been consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
You've been consistently all over the place. So we looked at a week-by-week breakdown of the entire year to date. And
yeah, Poshmark, please give us this so we don't have to do this manually. Thank you.
Yeah, oh my God, was this a time suck to do, because we literally had to go week by week by week.
But we did it.
So, on average, we are making, drumroll, 1 fewer sale per week, on average, during the promoted window, than we were
previous to the promoted window.
So we've made 1 less sale on average so far than we would have normally.
Well, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. But did we make more money doing this?
Okay, drum roll. No. We've actually lost money on average by about $40 before you factor in the additional fee. So we are $40 shy of our normal average.
So you mean 40 plus 25?
Yeah, $65.
Oh, yeah.
We are down $65 a week. Per week on average compared to our numbers for year to date.
So that's fun. That's a great statistic. Now, I will say, and I want to be very clear about this because I have heard people talking about this, that it does increase engagement. As we said before, we can't distinguish the difference between an engagement of a promoted listing and engagement of our closet in general because they don't tell us. So we can't tell you that an increase in engagement was definitely promoted closet. We're assuming because that's the new thing that changed. But it could be because I shared more, or it could be because I listed something really good that week, or there's plenty of things, right? There's so many factors in sales.
There's no way to delineate that and compare normal engagement other than anecdotal evidence. We have anecdotal, this is what we feel, we are getting more engagement, and we can see more engagement, but that is, well, not translating into sales currently, and then also costing us money.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to try not to take out the tinfoil hat, but this is a tinfoil hat moment. Are you ready?
Yeah.
There has been rumors, and we cannot confirm nor deny this, that the increase in engagement is actually fake. So people are saying that these extra likers are not actually real profiles, they are bots. Now, I don't know. It's hard to say. We haven't seen a good increase on sales, so it's possible.
We literally just had an encounter with a bot that you had found.
We did.
So they do exist, and it's seemingly like the bots are more prevalent on Poshmark ever since they've announced the pay per click.
Yeah, now, of course, that's a conspiracy theory, and we don't know. There's no way to test this theory. There is no way to know unless I literally went through every single liker and tried to talk to them or something, which I'm never going to do. But just keep in mind that just because you get more likes doesn't mean you're going to get more sales. We would have to track this over time, and frankly, I'm not willing to pay for it to do that over time. So there is that. So he has one more conspiracy theory, but I want to make sure I get this to you guys before we end this video because you guys have been asking me in the comments about spike clicks, and you've been saying to me, do you know if Poshmark is going to charge per click if somebody does, 10 clicks on one item, or are they going to do per unique click where one person gets a charge per unique click where it's only one charge per person no matter how many times they click in a certain window? And while I couldn't get Poshmark themselves to actually answer the question, I tried, I put it in the Slack group, they ignored me. Somebody else actually did comment back to me and said that based on their analysis, they have been able to determine that Poshmark is only doing unique clicks, that there is a window of time in which Poshmark says, no, we're not going to keep charging you for the clicks. Again, this is not from Poshmark themselves. This is from somebody who is tracking it on their own that is also in the beta program. So take that with a grain of salt, but that is at least one positive. Just wanted to make sure I got it in there.
Okay. My conspiracy, and this is going to be not really a conspiracy, more of a sad reality for our doomed future.
Love ending videos this way.
So you have stated that there are some people that are not in the beta program that have seen a decrease in their sales.
I'm sure somebody viewing has. Let us know in the comments. Is it you?
Yeah, if somebody has lower sales than they do on average and they're not in the beta program, please do comment. My concern is that once it is opened to everyone, we are all going to go back to basically where we were before and just giving Poshmark more money. I do not see a way where that is unavoidable unless we all collectively don't do the promoted listings.
That could very well be. And if that is the case, my only suggestion to you guys is learn eBay, because eBay, you know, they have their problems. We talk about them a lot and we don't have the best relationship with them, but they are consistent. They are a consistent platform. You can understand them. They are transparent as corporations could be. I don't know. But they're there and they've been there. So if you're looking for somewhere else to go, that's where I would suggest. But I don't know what's going to happen with Poshmark. And if we don't all band together, which I really don't see the whole community doing, we could very well be buried.
We're going to be all doomed to be paying extra money for no benefit.
Right. So that is how we feel right now. And we did talk really in depth about how we feel about promoted closets, where we kind of were starting all of this before we even got into the beta program. So if you want to know all of those thoughts and kind of the overall feeling going into this, please click the link on the screen here.